Welcome to CoinGeek-Conversations, and many thanks to Natalie Mason for hosting the show for the past 4 weeks. Well, this is the start of our new season, and appropriately enough, my first guest is at the cutting edge of Bitcoin SV utility. His company works with well-established businesses to offer a service that uses blockchain to streamline a part of everyday working life. I'm talking about invoicing. But that's just the start of his ambitions. The company is called InvoiceMate, and he gives himself the job title of Chief Mate. He's Mohammed Salman Anjum. Welcome to the show, Mohammed.
Thank you very much, Charles, for having me, and hello to everyone.
You're listening to CoinGeek Conversations with Charles Miller.
Can I start by asking you how far you've got with InvoiceMate? Because at the CoinGeek conference in Zurich, you announced some clients who are going to be the first customers who are actually going to be using the software. So how's that going? Has it actually started yet?
So by August onwards, we started the development part. Before that, we were in the design phase and we were doing some requirements gathering doing our own research. By June, as you mentioned, that we got to close to signing the first clients, and we did. And now we are implementing the InvoiceMate for 3 of the organizations which we signed in the month of June. So that is for us, even I believe it's a surprisingly good growth. And whatever we have achieved till now, we believe now is the time that now we are in the takeoff stage. It will be far more rapid than this one. So 3 clients are on board. They are implementing it in this month. And soon, I think in next few more weeks, we will be having a 4th one as well. I should add on this point that we still have not commercially launched. We are planning to launch it sometime in the mid of Q4 of 2021. So if before the launch, we were able to sign and deploy InvoiceMate to 4 of the commercial clients.
I thought what was impressive that you announced in Zurich was that these were actually quite big and well-established companies and institutions who had signed up to use InvoiceMate.
Yes, our first deployment is with the Saudi government entity, that is SALIC, Saudi Agriculture and Livestock Investment Company. So again, they were using already the state-of-the-art ERP, which is among the world's best. I will not name, but still it's one of the best ERP for their operations. And they chose us to add value to that existing ERP which they are using. So we are bringing some add-on value to their existing architecture. That's the core reason why they're having us. And the other 2 implementations which we are currently doing are also the large-scale manufacturing companies and trading companies, distributors, because these are the right fit for InvoiceMate as they deal a lot of invoices. Inflow and outflow of the invoices quite heavy with them. So these are the kind of businesses, distributors, manufacturers, and government entities. They are the very right fit for our product.
Well, let me just mention for anyone who isn't familiar with all this, as I wasn't, in fact, that ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning Software. And that is companies like Oracle and SAP and Microsoft Dynamics who provide existing software, and that yours is going to sit on top of that. So perhaps you could just tell me what it is that you're going to be able to offer that those existing companies don't offer at the moment.
Yes, so the thing is that we are not competing with the existing ERPs and accounting packages, and we are adding value to them. How we are adding value? First of all, the nature of the both softwares are different. We are a vertical focused digital transformation platform, and they are horizontal nature. So we target only invoicing, the inflow of the invoices coming from the vendors and suppliers, and the outflow from the organization to its client. Yes, these things are also taken care in the ERPs and the accounting packages, but they deal the invoice processing issues in a horizontal way. So they cover, let's suppose, 15 other functionalities in this software. So the focus is not on a vertical or niche base. This as an add-on, offers vendor management, invoice creation, invoice submission, invoice reviewing, invoice approvals, and then invoice payments as well. And in next year, we are planning to bring the invoice financing functionality as well. So the whole journey of the invoice will be on this software, which is not available on existing ERPs and accounting packages. So they do provide like 2 or 3 bits of the invoice processing in general. Yes, there are some modules. If you buy them extra, again, they are add-on like us. Like we are extra to the ERP. And like companies like SAP and Oracle, they also sell add-ons for the vendor management, for the invoice processing. So yes, for those add-ons, we are in competition. But where we stand out, we are the world's first ever blockchain-powered invoice management system. And we are not using blockchain for the sake of blockchain, for the sake of trend. No, there is a classic use case of invoice processing on top of the blockchain platform. The reason again, this is a process or workflow which requires a lot of trusted digitization, not just the digitization, trusted one. And blockchain is that enabler. And that is the reason why we have chosen blockchain to give power to our invoice management system. And it's a right fit. And again, organizations are seeing this a missing link in their existing IT architecture. And that's why they are seeing us as a value.
Well, I'd like to ask you about the blockchain side of it in a minute. But before we leave ERPs, I just wanted to ask, do your engineers need to have the cooperation of these big ERP providers like Oracle and so on? Or can they write their software without Oracle and the others even knowing anything about it?
We need the API exposure. So we connect or integrate InvoiceMate with their existing like softwares or architecture. So we just need the user kind of API layer. We don't need the backend support from the engineering team of Oracle, SAP, Microsoft Dynamics, or even in some cases, if it is customized or tailor-made ERP or accounting package, we just need that API connectivity between the two. Yeah.
And
by the way, InvoiceMate can be used, sorry to add this point, it can be used as a standalone system for invoice management. So yes, we can offer the integration. So out of 3 current deployments, we are doing 1 integration-based deployment, and 2 will be using it as a standalone software without, they are not interested to integrate it with their existing. So it offers a complete invoice journey or invoice management, so they don't feel to use it with the integration of the existing ERPs and accounting packages.
Right. So these people who are your customers are sending out invoices to people that owe them money. Do those people need to have your software as well, or do they just pay in the normal way?
Sure. So if I explain the user base, like how InvoiceMate can be used, these companies, first of all, are using invoice management software for managing the invoices coming from their suppliers and vendors. That's their primary reason for using InvoiceMate. Yes, within InvoiceMate, we have also enabled now that they can also send the invoices to their clients as well. But clients are not under their control. If the clients are also using InvoiceMate, then yes, the visibility for them is end-to-end. But in this current scenario, they have a complete visibility from their vendor's perspective or a supplier's perspective. All the invoices they can see when they got submitted. First of all, they can give the app to their vendors and suppliers. This is a big pain point always, that accounts payable staff has to do this job. They receive different kinds of invoice formats from the vendors and the suppliers, and they have to filter it in their own system. And that's not the case in InvoiceMate. The app is given or provided to the supplier. They will download it. They will generate the invoice in that app and submit it to our client. And our client will receive it in the format which they want it to be. So the digitization is happening from the very beginning. Other benefit to the supplier using the app of our client is that they can track the reviewing and approving of this invoice, and they will not be calling to our clients accounts payable again and again, what is the status of my invoice, when I'll be receiving the payment of my invoice. That saves around 70% of the workload of accounts payable staff.
Well, let's just talk a little bit about the Bitcoin SV side of things. What is it that can be done now that couldn't have been done without the blockchain?
I'm happy to compare it with other blockchains as well, because again, when we started our journey for the InvoiceMate, we had some other blockchain in our mind, and that was a permission blockchain. So, and it was not like half of our journey till now, like it's 1.5 year, we are almost 1.5 year old now. So half of our development was done with the permission blockchain integration in our InvoiceMate. Later, we've had discussions with BSV team, and we found out that the real value of using blockchain is using a public blockchain variant. But the problem with the public blockchain variant was that it was not offering so much of a flexibility and the ecosystem issues. For example, if we are offering InvoiceMate, and there will be transactions on the BSV blockchain or any other public blockchain, the CFO of our client will not be he will not be convinced how much budget he has to put for the transaction fee of a public blockchain.
Right.
That was a big missing link. So when we had discussions with the BSV team, they were having the solution for this, beside their efficiency, beside their scalability factor, bigger block size, beside their cost effectiveness, which is, I think, probably the best highlight of the BSV when it comes to the enterprise application. But beside all these inherent features, technology features, what they are bringing is the ecosystem, and that ecosystem means companies like TAL. They are selling the transactions in bulk in fixed amount.
So for people who don't know, TAL is a big transaction processor. Well, they used to be called a miner, but they see transaction processing very much as the future of their business. And that's the service they're offering you.
Yes. So the business is that they will give us, let's suppose our client wants 100,000 transactions in a year. So TAL will do an agreement for selling them 100,000 transactions on BSV blockchain at a fixed rate, or maybe a fixed time period. So they now are feeling much more comfortable that's whatever is the price of the transaction, it is decided for a whole year, and they put aside a budget for a 1 year subscription with us. So that's another major reason why we are opting the BSV ecosystem, that this is not available with any other public blockchain.
Right. But as far as your customer is concerned, they're not having to get in touch with TAL and do a kind of deal for the number of transactions they want. That, I think, is going to be done by you, and
Yes.
Then the customer just pays you a subscription for the overall service. Is that right?
Yes, it is the case that we do that part for our clients. They sometimes even don't know which blockchain we are using, and that's what is a normal case. When you are using internet, generally you are not considering what is happening behind. So all you need is what are the features you are getting out of that internet application. So tech stack for the clients is not important for them to. The important thing is the delivery or the deliverable of that tech stack.
One thing I was interested in from your talk in Zurich was that you said that InvoiceMate was going to be able to bring down the time for processing an invoice from 25 days to 2 days. Well, I was wondering actually what happens during those 2 days. Why is it not just on the blockchain instantly? What's happening during those 2 days?
Yeah, so exactly when we did our case studies with the clients, how many days generally they are using for their invoice processing. So it is a workflow. Like, for example, if I give you the example, the vendor will submit it to me today as for my company, but my company has a workflow or a procedure to review and approve that invoice. There can be multiple individuals, multiple layers. So there will be multiple reviews, multiple approvals, And then once it is on the stage of a payment, then again there can be a payment in installment, payment in full, payment in deferred, like 3 months from now, XYZ. So that is a minimum time, I think, 2 days of workflow
Right.
to complete the journey of invoice processing.
So it's the normal human factors in the end that
Yeah.
if somebody wants to slow something down, you can't stop them doing that, really.
Yes. Adding on this question's answer is that if we in future we can see that there will be more digitization and smart contracts on blockchain can replace the human reviews and approvals as well. So there will be a smart contract already written on the blockchain, and everything from the submission to the payment will be happening through that smart contract chain, and it will be happening on a literally on a real-time basis. So probably it will take 2 minutes to complete the invoice journey if all the invoice workflow is happening through smart contracts on a blockchain. But that's future. We are seeing that happening maybe a few years from now, but not now.
Right. Now, you're based in Dubai, and you've said that your target market is Middle East and South Asia. And that has meant that you're going to be offering Sharia compliance. And I just wondered what that actually involves in terms of invoice processing.
So the first point is about the target market. Yes, our initial target market is Middle East and South Asia. And then we also will be expanding ourselves to the beyond Middle East and South Asia, like Europe and Americas and Southeast Asia side as well. The reason why we are opting for this Sharia compliance factor, and especially the Middle East and South Asia, because again, you asked what is the connection between Sharia compliance and an invoice processing. Yes, for a standard invoice reviewing and approval, no, there is no requirement of Sharia compliance or Islamic laws to be applied on the invoice transaction. But in the next part, after a while, we will be expanding ourselves to become a liquidity provider, or we will be a financing company to finance the invoices. So in first stage, we will be solving their efficiency and trusted workflow problem of the invoice processing. And in the second stage, which we are assuming by the third quarter of the next year, 2022, by this time of the next year, we will be able to reach to that point that we will be having our own liquidity pool, or we'll become our own financing institution. And those clients who are using InvoiceMate for invoice processing, we can offer them invoice financing facility as well. But to start with, we want to offer it to on the basis of Sharia compliance or with the rules of Islamic law. So this is the reason why we say we are going to be Sharia compliant in our invoice financing facility.
So from a technical point of view, what does that kind of compliance mean? Are you building another layer of software on top, or how does it work?
Look, when in conventional financing, there is a one audit layer that is from the central bank of each country or some regulatory frameworks they have to adhere. When it comes to Islamic rule-based invoice financing or any other kinds of financing, then there is a second layer of audit comes into the like transaction. For example, this is the layer which will check the Islamic rules. The transaction should not be having any kind of interest. The transaction should not be coming, or the money flow should not be coming through the means of some prohibited items like liquor, like betting, like so on and so forth. There are 6 or 7 items of that. So what blockchain powered platform will do, again, it will digitize that audit layer for the ease, for the efficiency, and for the trusted workflow. So the moment transaction is taking place, the audit layer of Islamic rules will applied and will say, okay, this transaction is clean. There is no interest involved. There is no money coming from a betting organization or from the liquor-based or some pork-based transaction is not happening. So this is the reason why the layer of blockchain in this software is far more required.
So am I right in thinking that what that really means is that the customer is going to give a declaration on these various aspects, and that will be recorded on the blockchain along with the rest of their information.
Yes, and at the same time, for example, if they are doing some transaction and the one company involved is a betting company, so online betting company, and they are entering into the transaction. The moment they will enter, with the help of smart contracts in that blockchain, what we are using, so it will immediately trigger that this transaction cannot take place because it is coming through. If they are using our Islamic financing facility, if they are using InvoiceMate as a software, then no problem. But in case of financing, because the financing mean has to be Sharia compliant, generally people call it halal as well. So halal has to be halal. All the halal parameters have to be adhered. So with the help of smart contracts on blockchain, the efficiency of the audit will be far easier to do.
I see. Thank you. Well, you're based in Dubai. What does InvoiceMate consist of in terms of its staff and where they're based and so on?
Yeah, currently we can say we are in 3 different countries. Of course, our headquarters is in Dubai, but most of the dev is happening in Pakistan. And third country, which we are like also present as an entity, is Germany. So there we are having one of our founders is having a company there. So he's representing the Mate Soul in that country as well. But in future, of course, when we will be expanding it to the other regions, we'll have to expand our teams in different regions as well, especially the delivery shops. So support staff we have to put in different regions as well.
Now, you mentioned that you've been working with permissioned blockchains before you got involved with Bitcoin SV. And looking on YouTube, I saw that you were one of the experts on a blockchain cruise back in 2018. What was that like? Was it fun?
I have been into not just one blockchain cruise, rather I've been into 3 of their editions. I took part as a speaker, and it was by and large a very, very productive experience because again, imagine 400 to 500 blockchain specialists are like user base. They are in a very confined area, which is, although the cruise was always very big place to be in, but still you cannot go out, especially, and it's an event happening for 5 days on a confined area. So I call them a residential event. So
Right.
You are like having a networking when you are going to bed, and coffee, early morning jog. In events, normally we see people with a formal perspective. They offer their formal side. But in residential events like blockchain cruise and similarly, so I've been into some other, like Futurama was another event series. I remember they used to have booked the whole hotel venue. To me, it's like sometimes these kind of events, cruises and the residential events, they take things towards fun side more than what they should be. But still, overall, it was a wonderful experience. I had a good built a good network, and learned a lot from others as well.
I think that perhaps a few years ago, there was a kind of excitement around the whole scene that may have been lost a bit now that it's become a little bit more part of the business world. Do you look back on your cruises with nostalgia now?
Yes, you are right that now there are like very conventional kind of blockchain events. I'm not against this shift as well, because again, now you need to tap the conventional market. If you want to go for a wider adoption of a blockchain, then you need to meet with the conventional business people, and you will meet in the conventional business settings and conventional events. So beside the use of blockchain cruises and such residential and fun events, I think there is a strong need of blockchain ecosystem players to participate in the conventional tech events and conventional business events as well. So I'm happy with attending and speaking in both type of events.
Well, you've actually taken on a new role recently, which will also involve educating people about Bitcoin, and that is as head of the new BSV hub in Dubai, which is the hub for the Middle East, North Africa, and South Asia. So what will you be doing in that role?
Yeah, glad that you have brought this. It's something very close to my heart. I am primarily an educator. Even my arrival to the blockchain ecosystem was as an educator. So BSV ecosystem, of course, is I'm the head of the first hub, regional hub, which is covering probably the largest population of the world. We are going to be in from Turkey to India, so it's the largest hub for the BSV. The whole objective is to educate the different sides of ecosystem, like developers, like academia, government, and for different reasons. For developers, of course, we want more developers to be using BSV for their blockchain-powered softwares and apps. For the academia, we want them to support their initiatives on blockchain research. And then when it comes to the regulators and the government entities, we want them to, again, learn what are the implications of blockchain in the public sector. And at the same time, if we can help them in their regulatory framework for the crypto side. So in totality, it's more of a educational role and the PR role, which I'm very happy to do with the different set of ecosystem stakeholders.
I wonder how confident you are really in the whole prospects for Bitcoin SV. Do you think it is all going to work out the way BSV supporters imagine in the end?
Yes, to me, the next step is all about adoption, all about like BSV putting into the use. Where is the value of larger block size? Where is the value of ecosystem companies like Nchain and Tal bringing in the supporting ecosystem for adoption? Only when it will get adopted. So government sector using BSV powered applications, private sector using it. I think that's the next move for us as a BSV leadership, that we believe that only adoption will take us for a better utility. So it's all about adoption.
That's terrific. And I think the work that you're doing with InvoiceMate, which is working with established businesses and government institutions and so on, is exactly the kind of thing that the Bitcoin Association is going to want to point to draw more people into this world.
Yeah, and to just to add on this point, as in the beginning I mentioned that we were using some other like variant of blockchain as well. So I'm a convert. So I know the value of BSV as a convert. I know the value I'm not following someone to see BSV growing. I'm basically seeing the technology is the right fit for the enterprise blockchain use cases. So this is, I'm not just saying, I'm also using in my own software. So when I try to take BSV forward and give my own example, I think that makes far more sense to the people who I'm talking to, that okay, he was himself was a permission blockchain guy, and now he's a sort of a convert and he's seeing the real value of blockchain in the public blockchain variant. So that's, I believe, is the thing which I bring into the table, that I am a convert from a permission blockchain to a public blockchain. And then, of course, based on the value of BSV, I believe the BSV is the right fit for the enterprise business cases.
Mohammed, it's been great talking to you today. Thank you very, very much. It's been incredibly interesting, and really good luck with your work with InvoiceMate and with the BA2. And thank you so much for your time.
It's been a pleasure, Charles, and thank you again for having me, and thanks everyone for listening us, and looking forward to bring a lot more good news about the adoption of InvoiceMate and BSV in general.
Well, I hope we can catch up with the next chapter in the story of InvoiceMate before too long. So thanks again. Bye.
Sure. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much indeed to Mohammed Salman Anjum. And by the way, if you haven't already booked, please get yourself signed up for CoinGeek's New York conference, which starts on October the 5th for 3 days. If you can come in person, that would be great. But if you can't, you can watch it all online. do please get it into your diary. I'll be back next week with another CoinGeek conversation, but until then, thanks very much for listening and have a great week.
Imagine in 1997 paying for something with your watch. Remember the last time you used cash? The world has been digitized. Almost.
Cash was once seen as the last bastion for reform, but now is on the decline. Digital transactions have outcompeted hard currency since 2017 in the UK, but breakthrough bold technologies like blockchain have revolutionized more than just money.
Disruptive technologies call for disruptive lawyers, ones that don't just accept the trend, but find new ways of interpreting the law. We are currently the only global law firm with a real track record in the area of Bitcoin and blockchain. We are results-driven and care only about securing the best possible result for our clients.
We trace the supposedly untraceable. We pioneer the future of law. We deliver new solutions. We are law changers.